Welcome to the Mismatch. I'm Chris Vernon. Joining me, he does every week from TheRinger.com is Dave Jacoby. Jacoby!
Got some news today, Verno. We got some news.
Man, free agency has begun in the NBA as teams continue to remake themselves for next NBA season. We are recording this a little after 8 o'clock Central on Monday night. So everything is obviously fluid, but there have been a ton of signings that have already taken place. And there's no question, Jacoby, that starting right off, the biggest team that everybody is talking about is this remake of the Houston Rockets and what they have been able to pull off so far in this offseason. As if the acquisition of Kevin Durant was not enough, then they get extensions done for Jabari Smith. They get an extension done for Fred VanVleet. They get an extension done for Steven Adams. They get an extension done for Ime Udoka. They bring back all their bench guys like Jayshawn Tate, Jeff Green, Aaron Holiday. They all got deals. And so it's like, wow, they have done a lot in this offseason. Look at the Houston Rockets. Then free agency begins, and it's like, wait, hold on now. How are they still getting more guys? And it comes across the wire that they have signed Taurean Finney-Smith to a four-year deal. And then it comes across the wire that they've signed Clint Capela. And so, man, oh man, have they loaded up in this offseason. There's no question that in the Western Conference, the team that we look at most differently heading into next season is the Houston Rockets from where we were just a month ago.
I find this interesting because sometimes after a first-round exit for a 2 seed, the team will have a hard look at themselves and say, do we need to reshape this roster, just completely sort of reshape this team because we are not good enough? But it feels like the Rockets said, we are so good that we believe in our core so much that we're just going to add some pieces, one of those being Kevin Durant, and extend everybody else. And at the cost of Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, and a pick, they got DFS, Clint Capela, Kevin Durant. I would take the second side of that deal anytime.
Well, there's no question. And you've got the Kevin Durant upgrade over Jalen Green. Who knows what that will look like in 5 years? But certainly for the next few years, you would absolutely rather have Kevin Durant.
This episode is presented by Intuit Credit Karma. Navigate the world of credit cards with Credit Karma's tailored recommendations. It's suitable for anyone interested in taking control of their financial journey with cutting-edge technology. Start at creditkarma.com to find cards that fit your financial lifestyle. Credit Karma, finding the right card for you.
And one of the things we worried about is though Amen Thompson did show to be a fantastic player, is there going to be a loss of edge, a loss of the other perimeter defender by losing Dylan Brooks? And that is replaced with Taurean Finney-Smith, right? That big, malleable, switchable wing defender to go along. So now you're going to be able, there are going to be times where they're throwing out defensive lineups that are just impossible to score on.
There are some theoretical lineup combinations that are just absolutely nuts. Like if you have Eason, Thompson, Finney-Smith, and then Adams.
It doesn't even matter who's flanking them.
It's like, how do you score?
Right.
And I also love they have two bigs. They're famous for their two bigs, playoffs, two big postseason, blah, blah, blah. I like them adding another big. They're saying like you can't always rely on Steven Adams to be healthy. And Jabari sort of like not big enough and defensive enough at this point in his career to be sort of a rim protector anchor underneath the basket for your defense. And Sengun, no one's ever mistaken him for a great rim protector either, but not that Capela is some like great rim protector. But I just like that they got bigger and they've got more options. And Udoka has so many lineup combinations now that he could put out there to be flexible against different opponents.
That's the point. And one of the things that I have noticed a lot. One of my favorite things about the draft, outside of the great stories of the kids getting drafted and then wherever they end up landing, is because they get drafted, it leads us to one of the very few times throughout the NBA season that general managers have to take to the podium. And a lot of them talk on draft night, and then they talk when it comes to standing up at the dais and introducing the draft picks. And then they inevitably take questions. And I did this bit on Friday about how the profound impact of the teams that make it to the NBA Finals or far in the NBA playoffs is that teams are going to look at them and they're going to adopt best practices. And so we talked about wingspan and we talked about defense. Mm-hmm. And then because we got to see, I watched a lot of these when it came to the general managers talking after the drafts. And one of the phrases that came up, much like wingspan and defense, which did come up a lot, and they talked about all these teams wanted to add dogs. All these teams wanted to add wingspan. All these teams wanted to add defense.
Can I guess?
Yes. What's the word?
Switchability.
Optionality.
Optionality.
Yes,
okay.
That became the word. Optionality became the word. And this plays right into what we just talked about last week, which was building a team that is not just built to beat one team, whoever is the favorite. And we cited that 2 years ago, Minnesota looks at it and go, all right, in order to win the West, the mountain we're going to have to climb is Mount Jokic. And they did face him, but they faced him around early, and then they had to face Dallas, who was one guy dribbling the air out of the ball and 4 guys standing out at the perimeter. And the same thing goes with the Knicks. Oh, if we're going to climb the mountain, we're going to have to climb the Celtics. And then they did face him, but they faced him around early, and then they had to play against this hell-spun mixture of sprinting and flying up and down the court the entire time. It's like, well, that's not what we're built. We're not built to friggin' have a race every night, like have a bunch of 50-yard sprints every possession. And so now one of the things that defined both of those teams is we'll play you any different way, right? Oklahoma City drew the Joker, but then they drew the Indiana Pacers. And you can't be more different, and they were equipped to do both. And so the buzzword for all of these different teams when it came to the draft and why they were justifying the draft pick they made or in free agency and why they are justifying the free agents that they signed is optionality. We want to be able to play different ways. And that goes exactly to what you were just saying about Houston. If you want to go size,
they could be the biggest team in the league.
Let's be size.
Adams, Durant, Smith,
right?
Finney-Smith, and like Thompson and like Van Vliet to dribble the ball up or whatever. Like they can go huge, and they can also go all scoring. They can just go all offense and small if they want.
And if you want to go defense, if you want to go 5 out, we've got the wings, right? Mm-hmm. We've got the wings to be able to pull this off too. I mean, you just got to. I mean, if you're a Rockets fan, you got to be absolutely over the moon with what's happened this offseason so far.
It almost feels like. We know how constricting the new CBA is.
Right.
It feels like this shouldn't be allowed.
Right.
It's like you brought in Kevin Durant, DFS, and Capela, and you lost Dylan Brooks and Jalen Green. Like it just doesn't seem like the math doesn't math. But I don't know. I'm really impressed with what they did. And they were a 2 seed last year. They had a game 7 at home against the Warriors. And I think that they also have a pretty young team that's developing. I think they had a great day. Rockets had a great 2 days.
Also,
and the Jabari Smith extension.
I love the Jabari Smith extension. I mean, I think you could look up, and that Jabari Smith extension is one of the great values in the league.
Exactly what I was going to say. In 4 years, there's always a chance that you say, I can't believe that they paid Jabari Smith this much. But the chances of that happening are absolutely dwarfed by the idea that Jabari Smith is going to be making like $26 million when he's worth 50.
Well, forget 4 years, Jacoby. In 26-27, just the 26-27 season. So not this next one that we're going to talk about. 2 seasons from now. Joel Embiid's going to make $62 million. Anthony Davis is going to make $63 million. Jaylen Brown's going to make $61 million. Cat's going to make $61 million. Like, if you got this guy on 20-something,
I think it's also fair to say that Jabari Smith hasn't
No,
I'm trying to.
he's
I'm trying.
going to grow into it.
He hasn't sort of like hit the expectations
Nope.
or the arc that we expected on draft night based on how skilled he was in college. I think it's fair to say that he's underperformed his sort of like pre-draft evaluation. So if you're him, this makes total sense too. I'm like $120-something million in 5 years. Sign me up. But I expect him to blossom.
And this has been true of Jaren Jackson Jr. This has been true of Evan Mobley. This has been true of, it will be true of Chet Holmgren. I throw him in the class. He is not those guys necessarily, but I would not put a ceiling on him. I do think he is a defensive terror and also a guy that we could look up. And he's one of those guys getting a million blocks and hitting threes as well, and is a massive piece for that team going forward on an extremely reasonable contract with the way it plays out.
And offensively, I don't think anyone would ever confuse Jabari Smith for Kevin Durant. But there are some things he can learn from Kevin Durant because he does have a really good mid-range pull-up jumper that I think that Kevin Durant can help him unlock.
Let's stay in the West. The other team that I think we look at differently based upon the actions of today, the first day of free agency, is the Denver Nuggets, who moved off of Michael Porter Jr., but were able to attain Cam Johnson and brought in Jokic's old buddy Bruce Brown, who was
Brucey B.
I mean, talk about being in witness protection since he left. He won that title.
That's why he was dressing like a cowboy.
I know.
That's why he was dressing like a cowboy so people would talk about him.
Won that title, cashed in, obviously totally forgettable Indiana tenure, totally forgettable Toronto tenure, and now he's back in Denver, but I like this deal for them. It gives them some flexibility to hopefully do something else to build out around Jokic, but Bruce Brown's going to absolutely be in their rotation, and Cam Johnson is a mega reliable three-point shooter, right? With the amount of threes that Jokic can generate any team, if you can find a guy that shoots at a very high volume and just a tick under 40% from that range, you know that offense, and forget that offense, that guy generates you open threes. Can you knock them down? And even as a young player, though he is not as young as you think he is, Cam Johnson was a rotation player on a team that went to the finals already.
Oh, yeah.
So we know he can play a role, and we know he can do it for a team that can achieve great success.
I think that there's a consistency and a reliability to Cam Johnson that you don't get with Michael Porter Jr. for health and for performance. Michael Porter Jr. some games looks like an all-star, looks like one of the best players in the league. And then some games he just disappears completely. And Cam Johnson's just more reliable and more consistent as a three-point shooter. Because when you have Jokic on the floor, he's going to get you open looks.
Yep.
And Cam Johnson's a pretty consistent, and he's not a defensive liability either. He can play defense.
Yeah, he's long. He's athletic enough, and I mean, it's not like he's not a sieve. He's not a we are going to attack you.
No,
and that is what Porter Jr. is. Porter Jr. is a guy that they try to hunt, and so I thought good moves for Denver on the first day. Switching over to the Eastern Conference just for a second, the same way everybody is talking about the Rockets and this incredible remake that they have had, remake is the best way to put it. On the East side, it's all Hawks.
It's wild.
I mean, and even
we were talking about them on the last pod, and they got better.
Right before we started to record, they signed Luke Kennard to a deal as well, who is a guy that I just covered here in Memphis, and he's one of the best three-point shooters to ever walk the earth. And they've got enough that when it comes to the playoffs, it's not going to matter whether he knocks down a bunch of playoff shots or not. But I will say he's a guy that can stretch the floor, and he's a guy that can knock down shots. And if he's flanked by good enough defenders, which they now have employed because they've got Dyson Daniels and because they've got Nickeil Alexander-Walker and they've got Jalen Johnson, they've got a bunch of athletes. You know, we had this discussion a few weeks ago about the Hawks and what they were going to do. And I said, I would just say Trae Young, Dyson Daniels, Reese Shea, Jalen Johnson. If you want to throw a Kongwu in there, whatever, and then just build out around those guys. And they have added, since that time, Kristaps Porzingis. And they have added, as we mentioned, Luke Kennard today, but the big one was Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who they were able to add from the Minnesota Timberwolves.
I mean, it's fair to say we can argue about it, but he's at least like a top 3 free agent this year's class. Nope. He's going to the Hawks, who already got better. It's impressive. I thought these two teams, the Rockets and the Hawks, got dramatically better in the last week.
And this is a team that looks at it now and says, look, Tatum's out with an Achilles. Halliburton's out with an Achilles. We knew there were going to be some of these teams. Orlando got it started by making the Desmond Bane trade, and it's like, hey, this looks a little bit different than it did. This Eastern Conference looks a little bit different than it did. And certainly the Hawks, you're now a team that I think fancies yourself as a chance at home court advantage. Seriously.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
I think without Capela, I think that Porzingis' health is going to be very important to their success.
That's true.
And that is a question mark every year. Is Porzingis healthy?
I liked adding Kennard because it's another guy that could play like real minutes for you, because after Alexander Walker and Okongwu, you are counting on, Asa Newell's a rookie. You got Kobe Buffkin. You got Vic Krejci. Like it gets light. It got light after 7. You added an 8th in Kennard, right? You added an 8th in Kennard. Oh, do we have a little breaking news? Free agent center Mason Plumlee has agreed to a 1-year, $3.6 million deal with the Charlotte Hornets. Wow.
Hornets.
Wow.
Just rebuild, just changing the culture in Charlotte.
Wow.
So they drafted 4 white guys, and now they acquired a white guy. I had to. I'm sorry.
Oh, then they got Colin Sexton.
Yeah.
Can he have some friends on the team or not?
That trade
was
odd. It was just odd. I've always liked Colin Sexton. I've always liked him.
I love him. I swear, every year I come on the Mismatch and I'm like, can I please watch Colin Sexton in the playoffs? Please. He has been on these rat Cleveland teams. Then he went to these rat Utah teams. And now he's going to Charlotte. Maybe Charlotte can do it. Who knows? Maybe they can get in the top 6, top 8. Who knows?
They got Nurkic because he was so bad in Phoenix. The Phoenix was just someone take this guy. Someone just please. Whatever it's going to just get him out of here. And then the Hornets, I'm just surprised they got a pick back. They got Sexton and a pick. I guess Sexton's too good to be on the Jazz. And they obviously want to clear up minutes for their younger players to develop. But it's a great move for the Hornets. I don't think the Hornets are going to do anything this year, but they got a lot better with Knipple, and Sexton, and Plumlee. They did need a center. I like Diabate. I was watching a random Hornets game, and he was having the game of his life. The game of his life. He was doing the interview going into halftime with the sideline reporter, and he had no idea. He's never done it before, so he had no idea how it worked. It was so adorable. But I need them to not be crappy, because I want they're a super fun. Detroit took the title last year of the team. I live in the Central Time Zone, so I call them the 6 o'clock games. Right? There's always a team that I adopt that the games come on at 6 o'clock, and it's like Detroit comes on at 6 o'clock, Atlanta comes on at 6 o'clock, Charlotte comes on at 6 o'clock, and so then I just pick games. And of course, a couple of seasons ago, I fell in love with watching those Hornets games just because I loved hearing the announcer go bonkers over everything. And then they just turned so bad that they were out on my 6 o'clock rotation. I was like, LaMelo's out, Brandon Miller's out, Grant Williams. Nobody's playing for them anymore. It's like, I want them to be good. There's a world where going into next season, I can already hear it on the Mismatch, the preseason pod, where we go through, we're like, listen, you got LaMelo Ball, you got Knipple, you got Miller.
Brandon Miller.
It's like, well, you got Sexton. Yep. It's like, all right, you got
maybe
Plumlee,
they'll be okay.
Diabate.
One thing I want to say, if we trace back to the Hawks real quick, I thought it was interesting that everybody kind of went out of their way. Both Shams did on X and when he was reporting it, and then the ESPN show went out of their way to talk about Trae Young being significant in the recruitment of Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Luke Kennard. He has never been a guy that we would would suspect is the big recruiter, and that guys are like, yeah, I want to go play with Trae Young, but hey, give him credit where credit's due. I mean, he's trying to build the team out. I just thought that was strange. Yeah,
big free agent. I thought it was strange too, but sometimes it's just sort of like the PR people trying to change the reputation of Trae Young, who's never really been seen as that guy or a power player or someone that people want to play with. And the Hawks they'll be high on my list of league pass teams.
Oh, we got more breaking news as we're doing the pod. Free agent forward Taurean Prince has agreed to a 2-year, $7 million deal with the Milwaukee Bucks. No way Giannis is leaving.
Bobby Portis signed. Taurean Prince signed. It was Taurean Prince that was leading the league in 3-point percentage last year, right?
I saw somebody
around New Year's. Yeah,
I saw somebody post a picture of the 2021 Bucks championship team, and it made me sad. They're all gone. Holiday's gone. Middleton's gone. Lopez is gone. Like the whole starting lineup is like out of there.
Yeah. Well, they've got Bobby Portis.
Yeah.
And Giannis.
And now running it back with Taurean Prince. I mean, that is look. If you're trying to get Giannis to stay, wow.
It did feel like
talk about a needle mover.
It was a done deal that Giannis was going to leave.
Yeah, I know.
And what was it, lottery day, when Shams had that report that he was like open to considering something else or whatever.
Yep.
And now it just seems like he's going to stay.
Yeah, it does seem that way. All right.
Huge news.
Free agent guard Ty Jerome agreed to a 3-year, $28 million deal with the Memphis Grizzlies.
Hold on.
I'm here.
You're in Memphis.
Yep.
You're the Grizzly guy.
Yep.
Grizzlies, very active the last 48 hours. Very active.
Signed
a lot of Grizzlies news.
Yeah. In fact, they were like right when 5 o'clock hit, people were just getting Grizzlies news sent to their phone when they've got their Shams notifications on.
Yeah.
So first it was, they wanted to take care of business. Obviously, the biggest thing needed to get taken care of first, which was Jaren Jackson Jr., and signing him up long-term. And so they signed him to a 5-year, $240 million deal. And then even seeing some of the reaction to that was a little interesting. Like, look, let me just tell you, Jaren Jackson Jr. is exactly the kind of guy you pay. Let me just get that out of the way.
Why you say that?
But beyond that, because he is a fantastic player about to enter the middle of his prime. He has won Defensive Player of the Year. The team has won over 60% of the games that he has played in, and he just averaged a tick under 23 points a game. He was literally 17th on all NBA voting. The 15 make it. He was 17th. That probably helped the
Grizzlies. That helped the Grizzlies a lot.
If you're not paying him, who the hell are you paying? Because him and Şengün were the two guys on the outside looking in, and I was just thinking to myself, oh, my God. I mean, you're talking not many votes difference. And the deal that he would have signed was 5 years, $345 million.
Jesus.
Literally $100 million more than what they paid him. $100 million. So that all-NBA thing, it's everything in terms of when the extensions come up and do they come up at the right time. It was Şengün and Jackson.
I think, to be fair, I believe that both Şengün and Jackson deserve to be on the outside looking in. I think that's fair to say. There's no one on that list where I think that they should have replaced.
They were also all NBA caliber players for the majority of last season, and they're both young. And all I'm saying is, if the reaction when he signed a 5-year, $240 million contract was like, what? In some quarters. Imagine if he would have signed 5 years, $345 million. I mean,
also,
$100 million bucks difference.
That limits what the Grizzlies can do.
No question.
I think the front office was celebrating the fact that he was not an all-NBA player. And you should, because it allows you to do other things with your roster, like sign Ty Jerome.
Right. And they signed Ty Jerome. And Ty Jerome, I got to be honest with you. I was absolutely stunned by the Jerome deal. I mean, that's basically the mid-level exception. The lower one.
I think that Pacers series cost him a lot of money.
You think so? You think it was
Yeah.
that much money?
Yes. Because it's sort of like the last taste in your mouth. Like when you think about Ty Jerome, you just think about how bad he played in the playoffs. You forget how good he was all season and how he was this breakout performer. He gets hot. Like when he gets hot, he gets hot.
Well, the other thing is, that was the second round of the playoffs. In the first round of the playoffs, I remember the game where he would not stop scoring against Miami. He was just pummeling them into submission. You remember that game? They were up by like 60 and he was still scoring. It's like, bro, stop kicking the dead body, Ty Jerome. What are you doing?
Well, the Pacers series was really bad. He was really bad. Like you're wondering if he's hurt or something mentally going on. Like he was bad.
Miscast, I would argue. Miscast.
Well, that's something else that broke the Grizzlies' way, to be honest with you.
Correct. He was miscast. He is a bench guard, right? He is a bench guard. And an outstanding bench guard. But he was asked to do more and play bigger minutes, and it certainly did not go his way when it came to that Pacers series. But the benefactor was Memphis, who gets an outstanding bench guard who is right in the middle of his prime, just turned 27 years old, and they get him at what I think is a super he is certainly much more productive and a better player than guys that are getting paid a lot more than him.
Hell yeah, he's getting less than $10 million a year.
He was third in Sixth Man of the Year voting, and he was on a 64-win basketball team.
Yeah.
You know, so certainly that was a good one. They also signed Santi Aldama to a 3-year, $52.5 million deal. I didn't know what they were going to do with Aldama, honestly. I'll
say this. I'm sure a lot of people listening don't watch a ton of Grizzlies games. Aldama plays a lot more than you think he does.
He plays a lot, and he also fills in as a starter quite a bit whenever guys are out. But he and he's still, obviously, look, he just got done with his rookie contract, so he's still young. Yeah, I think it's one of those deals when I saw the number on it. We have talked a lot about how there's and these are the deals that honestly you have to be able to get stuff done. That if it works out and he's the best fit for your team going forward after you see your new look team, then you've got him and you've got him on that deal and you're happy with it. And if it doesn't, it's a movable contract because he is in that range that is very, very difficult to attain right now. And those are the ones that can be moved. If you've got a good player on this kind of middle class contract, those are the ones that can be moved because, as we've talked about, there is so little middle class anymore. It's becoming like America in the NBA. There are the insanely rich people, and then there's the poor people. And the middle class, there ain't that many of those. And so Santi Aldama is firmly in the middle class.
I just looked up his stats. He plays 25 and a half minutes a game. He started 16 games, played 65 games, shot 48% from the floor, scored 12 and a half points a game.
Yep.
Like, he's not a household name, but he's productive. He's a productive piece for the Grizzlies. But we've talked enough about Santi Aldama. Let's move on.
Yep. The Lakers obviously changed LeBron's mind completely by signing Jake LaRavia. 2 years, $12 million. I love Jake LaRavia. I had him here.
Former Grizzly. Yeah.
He is goofier than all hell. He's never going to be a starter for anybody, but he certainly can. If he ended up being a guy that can be in rotations, it would not surprise me. And him and Austin Reeves they're already like super close, and they're going to be like, there's going to be like a thing. They're going to be like best buds, and they're going to have a great
Austin
give
Reeves
and take
LaRavia?
between the two. Oh, yes. Finally, so they got Austin Reeves, somebody to hang out with.
How long Austin Reeves is going to be there?
What do you make of all the LeBron stuff?
What? So explain this to me. Someone explain this to me. They're not trading LeBron James. Like, why was today the fake traded for LeBron James day? LeBron James is not going to get traded by the Lakers. It's not going to happen. He opted into his deal. He's going to play for the Lakers this year. He's not being like, I follow all the Knicks accounts.
I don't know, man.
Trades for the Knicks. What are you talking about? He's not going anywhere.
All right, listening to Brian Windhorst, who has covered LeBron James literally since he was a fetus. He said 8 times This has happened 8 times. And he has opted out all of them.
Yes.
Every time. So that's why this is different. And the Rich Paul statement is wild, Jacoby. It is. In the process of his statement, it says...
I also want to put this out there. Rich Paul did not have to make a statement. He had the option to not make this statement, but he said the following. Please go, Mr. Vernon.
LeBron wants to compete for a championship. He knows the Lakers are building for the future. Okay, let's just stop there. Does that sound good?
No.
Okay. He understands that. Okay, good. He understands.
Here comes the big one. But
he values a realistic chance of winning it all. I mean, this is not out of nowhere, Jacoby. The idea that, okay, maybe he's not. And I'm going to throw one at you since it's all fake trade season.
Don't do it.
Oh, yeah.
They're not trading LeBron James.
No. I loved this one. This is from my producer, John Roser in Memphis. He sent it to me this morning, and I was like, ooh. And this would fall so here. Let me put on Bill Simmons' conspiracy Bill hat for a bit.
Okay.
Right?
Good. All right. Got it.
So Nico Harrison is doing all these bizarre press conferences about, like, you see the vision now, this kind of stuff. Like, of course, after he got the number 1 pick in the draft. Shut up, dude. Roser sent me. So, you may know that Kyrie Irving, his former teammate who he wanted in LA's there. You may know that Anthony Davis, his buddy's over there. Okay. Mm-hmm. He sent me Klay Thompson, PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, and 3 first-round picks.
Why would the Lakers do that?
Klay Thompson signed up to play with Luka Doncic, and his dad used to play for the Lakers, and the Lakers wanted him. PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford already have a relationship and have played with Luka Doncic.
What are you doing?
And I'm just telling you. I don't hate that. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I don't hate that. You're building out around Luka now. I don't hate it. You got 2 proven guys that have proven they can make a West Finals with Luka, and then Klay, who signed up to play with Luka, and his dad was a former Laker anyway, and they wanted him when he went and signed with Luka. I don't hate it. And then LeBron gets to go be with his buddies down in Dallas.
No. And
then Nico can really say the vision. This was all I was getting AD so that I'd get LeBron. I don't know.
No chance.
I'm just.
I thought the Rich Paul thing was interesting.
It's a fun one.
It's just an interesting statement because he could have just said nothing. They could have just extended it. He could have just opted into his deal and not said a word. But instead, he's basically saying, we need to win now. At this part, we do want to evaluate what's best for LeBron at this stage in his life and career. Okay. He's going to play in the Lakers. So did you see the video from the restaurant in New York?
Oh, by the way, can I go ahead? Yes, I saw that video, but hold on. Let me stop you. I just so this is so I can correct the record. The trade was Thompson, Gafford, PJ, and the picks for Bronny and LeBron.
Oh, yeah, good. I'm glad you clarified that. I'm glad you clarified that.
Just want to make sure he wasn't abandoning his son.
Yes, that's good.
He's bringing him along.
That's good.
You gotta get both. Package deal.
He's at a restaurant, and some stranger is recording him talking. And then puts it on the internet.
Love. He was with Kevin Love, right?
Yes. Kevin Love and another one of their friends and their ladies. And he says that Savannah wants him to retire this year and next year. Be careful what you wish for, Savannah. That means he's going to be around the house a lot more. You're going to have to deal with him. And then he said at one point, he said, quote, I ain't mad looking at New York. So now Knicks fans are like, we're putting together trades to get LeBron. LeBron wants to play in New York. LeBron's not coming to the Knicks. LeBron's not coming to the Nets. LeBron's going to play on the Lakers. I don't know why we spent the last 48 hours trying to trade LeBron everywhere, and you just spent the last 4 minutes trying to trade him to Dallas.
Fun?
I guess so.
And his agent put out a statement for no reason, and he opted into his contract for the first time ever.
And then we start talking about him going
40,
to the Caps.
And he's 40, and he makes $50 million a year, and his
He's
agent's out there.
He's still good.
I got it, but his agent's out there talking about how, like, yeah, they're trying to win in the future. They're not trying to win now.
Did you see the video of Rich talking to Matt Ishbia on the phone?
Yes.
On draft day?
Yeah, yes.
That was wild.
This is exactly what I told you about the whole Ace Bailey thing. It's like, bro, you got to have juice. There are guys that can dictate the draft. Ace Bailey was not represented by one of them.
So just like Rich Paul didn't have to put out that statement, he didn't have to put out that video either. But that video certainly makes him look like he is dictating the draft and makes him look like if a team wanted Malawach,
yes,
that they cannot have him.
People have been dictating the draft since the beginning of time. One of my dear friends, Sonny Vaccaro, helped dictate the draft in 1996 to make sure Kobe ended up with the Lakers. I mean, it's happened.
Yeah.
They literally walked up to John Calipari, who was representing the Nets, and told John, if you draft him, he's going to Italy. They took Kerry Kittles. Well, that's true. That's true. And by the way, Utah. Wait till we get another statement tonight. Look, there's going to be another Rich Paul statement coming out tonight after they signed Jake LaRavia. Be like, see?
We said we needed a win now move. Yep. Jake LaRavia is going to take us over the top.
And this is what we're doing? Okay.
As of now, it's 9:44 in the East Coast. Still don't have a center. Brooke Lopez didn't go to L.A. Clint Capela didn't go to L.A.
Yeah,
Luke Cornett didn't go to L.A.
I mean, according to the internet, all I see is these photoshops with DeAndre Ayton in a Lakers uniform.
That is not who they need. They do not need DeAndre Ayton. Luka needs someone to throw lobs to. And someone who plays defense.
Do you know what a piece of crap you've got to be for somebody to pay you $35 million to get away? That's crazy.
To go away?
I mean, that is crazy. You remember I joked last year that I watched that game when Memphis played against Portland, and I came on here the next day and I said, bro, if you told me DeAndre Ayton was playing with AirPods in, I would have believed you. Like he just jogging and doing nothing.
Well, it's one thing for like the Utah to trade Sexton the way they did because they're not trying to win. They're trying to get their young players time. Like the Blazers are trying to win basketball games. They made moves to improve their team.
They got to get.
And one of the ways they improved their team was by paying DeAndre Ayton $30 million to go away.
Maybe this is the diabolical Rich Paul move. Maybe he did want DeAndre Ayton with the Lakers, and so he made him draft Hanson Yang. You guys don't need Ayton. You got Hanson and Klingon and
Time
Rob
Lord.
And Time Lord.
Yeah.
You got a gang of centers. Yeah. So who knows? Other free agencies that stood out to us, moves that stood out to us. Free agent guard Karis LeVert agreed to a 2-year deal, $29 million with the Detroit Pistons. I'm gonna bet that JB had a hand in this.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know this, but I bet JB loves him from Cleveland. And so obviously JB Bickerstaff being the coach there, and then this whole Malik Beasley thing that is hanging out there, which we won't have to go too in depth, but for everybody that saw that story, my inclination, my fear is that story does not see the light of day from Shams reporting that Malik Beasley is under investigation until we're too far down the road on that story.
The timing is interesting. The idea that it came out right as he's about to sign a deal with the Pistons.
Yep.
And the Terry Rozier news came out like the next day that he's been cleared from his investigation.
Right. Well, so I will just say I've been reading up about, forget all the funny clips of Malik Beasley.
Don't look at those
because
there's like 1 month that they're targeting while he was on the Bucks. So but all those clips that you've been seeing online while he's on the Wolves, not relevant.
This is why it makes me very concerned. Number one, feds don't get involved for funsies. Number two, if
No.
the feds are involved, it's usually too far gone. Like if you remember that big healthcare scandal that went down where guys were using, that a bunch of guys got tied up in. It's including one of my closest friends.
Basically insurance fraud for former NBA players get health insurance, and they were frauding their health insurance claims.
And bro, they already that was by the time we ever heard anything about that. They've got all your cell phone records. They've got all your stuff. They've done, and so what I'm telling you is it's not like they just started investigating this, right? What happens is the red flag goes up. I heard David Purdom. He was on with Dan Patrick, and I saw his interview that he did this morning. He covers gambling for ESPN. And one of the things that he was explaining is about red flags that can go up via the sports book. And this was so interesting, and it's so interesting for everybody out there that gambles on stuff, right? So what happens is, and in this particular case, I think this is honestly like one of the things that sent off the bat signals like crazy. So what happens is they find a game that's got very unusual betting activity on it, or a prop that has unusual betting activity on it. So one of them was this game that happened in January of, I believe it was
January 31st, 2024.
Okay. And it was Malik Beasley over 2.5 rebounds. Okay.
Yes.
So that on the surface would not seem like the biggest deal in the world. And like, I don't know, maybe
I gamble on FanDuel. I'm not betting Malik Beasley rebound
Nobody
props. Like what?
Come on. You'd have to be a maniac to be betting on. It's just
it's one thing if you're like a Karl Anthony Towns will get a double or whatever, or points plus rebounds, but like Malik Beasley rebounds.
Here's what I did not understand. So I just thought that there would be like an inordinate amount of money possibly coming in on the prop, which is of course true. Okay, and that's what set off the sirens. But what he was explaining was what they will do, and they do this on purpose, is what they will do is, so let's say Malik Beasley is, I think
it was plus 120. It was plus 120 for that particular prop to start.
What they do is they keep moving that money line.
It ended up at minus 250, which is a huge swing.
So they don't bump up to the like 3.5 rebounds or whatever. They don't move the actual line. They just and if money keeps pouring in, even though it's now against the gambler,
red flag.
Right? Like it's like, okay, what is going on here? Nobody's betting Malik Beasley over 2.5 rebounds at minus 250. That's asinine.
But I went to his stupid basketball reference page to look at these splits from that year, and he had 7 rebounds the next night. Like it wasn't that crazy. Like it'd be one thing if he was like got 2 rebounds, 2 rebounds, 2 rebounds, then 8 rebounds, then back to 2. But he got 7 rebounds in the next game against Dallas. So like, I don't know.
I'm just telling you, they got all his cell phone records. They got it. Like, trust me. So let's hope he's not involved in anything.
Listen, I'm way too deep into the Diddy trial. I just watched the Karen Reed documentary. If anything you've ever texted anybody can be read in the court of law, be careful.
Yeah. And so now we will see, and hopefully for his sake, he was not involved, but Karis LeVert certainly was a benefactor of, because the Detroit Pistons signed Karis LeVert, and
we got more news.
Great 6 man. Oh, breaking news. Free agent guard Jordan Clarkson intends to sign with the New York Knicks upon clearing waivers.
Okay. I think I've told this story before on the Mismatch, but there's one reason I like this signing. I've had him on the show a couple times. I like him. Great guy. There's this water fight that happens in Central Park every year. It's just people that, I don't know, it's a text chain. It's like young people, whatever they're on, 4chan, whatever, Twitch. And it's just like 1,000 people get together with water guns and water balloons to get into a water fight. And people film it and put it on the internet. And just randomly, Jordan Clarkson was there one summer at the water fight in Central Park. So I'm down. I'm with it. Sure. Jordan Clarkson, whatever.
He's been a bucket for a decade.
If this was a Tibb environment, he wouldn't play. But whoever they have coaching now.
But now it's a Don Staley environment, so he's probably going to get all kinds of.
That was wild. I was let's go.
I hope so badly
God,
they hire Dawn
it.
Staley. That would be so great.
Just for the outfits alone.
And she is awesome with the media.
The best. The best. We've had her on Jerome and Jacoby. She's a great interview. She's a great hang. She's a baller.
She seems so cool.
And if you're young, look up her career. She gets buckets. Buckets.
She is like the one that I could see like not only like handling that, but reveling in it too.
Yes.
I love Dawn Staley.
But apparently it's going to be Mike Brown, which is just so uninspiring. He's fine. But he did his second interview today, and Sham said that like it went well or whatever.
Okay.
So we'll see.
Yeah. All right.
I don't think Trendon Watford deserves the graphic.
Free agent forward Trendon Watford has agreed to a 2-year, $5.3 million deal with the Philadelphia 76ers.
Okay.
And it says Watford is set to play a potential key role in the 76ers rotation.
Then why'd you sign him to 2 years, $5.3 million if he's going to play such a key role? Your actions are so loud I can't hear you. No one that's making $2.5 million is a key role in your rotation. But okay.
If Trendon Watford is set to play a potential key role in their rotation, they are going to suck.
You're in trouble.
D'Angelo Russell to the Mavs. There's another LeBron favorite that he could go play with.
Stop it.
2 years, $13 million. Whatever. It gets you by until Kyrie comes back.
Yeah. Sure.
You know? And just like Nico says, defense wins championships.
Yes, they brought in D'Angelo Russell.
Old guys got some money. Look, it pays to be old and cool. Nicholas Batum gets to stick around. Joe Ingles gets to stick around.
Oh, B-Ball Paul?
Garrett Temple gets to stick around. Oh, yeah, Paul Reed.
B-Ball Paul?
I will say, hey, Clippers, I thought have done a good job. I like the Brook Lopez signing.
Yeah.
Getting Brook Lopez, and obviously they got Harden to sign that $40 million deal, which is, again, James Harden for 40 instead of James Harden for 65 like the rest of his peers get.
The Clippers make sense. I think going into the playoffs, because they lost in the first round, which feels like it was 2022. But going to the playoffs, the Pacers were the hottest team in the East, and the Clippers were the hottest team in the West. And Zubac had this breakout year, became a household name, was respected for what he can do. And Brook Lopez did not look like a starting center on a really good basketball team last year, but he looks like a great backup center on a really good basketball team.
Oh man, Zubac and him, and it's a little different look, especially offensively, right? Because Brook's a guy that spaces the floor all the way out.
If Zubac is shooting a three, it's the end of the shot clock or the quarter.
And certainly if one of them goes down for 20 games, the other one is absolutely capable of getting you by for as long as you need him to.
Agreed.
Yeah, I like it.
I like it too.
The Clippers they make sense. Smart stuff.
They make sense. They're like, guess what? You guys have 2 more years.
Yep.
You get 2 more years. Yep. And we're not signing somebody to a 5-year deal. We're not going to extend Kawhi. Kawhi, Harden, 2 years. Batum, 2 more years. And if it doesn't work in the next 2 years, thank you very much for your service. We're going to sort of figure out another direction to head.
Some other signings that took place today. Free agent center Luke Cornett agreed to a 4-year, $41 million deal with the Spurs. Boy, did he get the Celtics bump, huh?
Well, he had a game. He had game 3, I think, against the Knicks where it was just what the hell is this?
Yeah, I think I went on blocking everything.
Yeah, I went on the Bill Simmons show afterwards, I think, after the game. It was awful. The Luke Cornett game.
Yeah.
He had a game. That's kind of the opposite of Ty Jerome. You play in these playoff series and you have a major impact, it'll bump up your stock.
I could see him either being super valuable for them, or I could see him just fading into the back of the rotation, right?
There are some guys, they're 13 minutes a game is perfect for you. You know what I mean? It's 14, 15 minutes a game. That is the perfect amount of you. You shine in that role, but don't fool yourself into thinking that if you give him 35 minutes a game, then you're going to get the same level of production. That's why I hate the per 36 minute stats or whatever. It's sure.
Yeah. Yeah,
because give him 36 minutes and see what happens.
Because if those were so, Boban would have averaged 52 and 30.
Yeah. The per 36 is there's a reason these guys don't play 36 minutes.
Speaking of another center that did not play huge minutes, Kevon Looney, who has been I think he is. He's like I thought honestly, Looney was gonna be like the Warriors Haslam, the Warriors Nick Collison, the Mavericks Dwight Powell, just like all-time Warrior, and he's just everybody loves him, and he's been on the team, and he's the keeper of the flame, and he brings the young guys along, and he plays his role, whatever his role needs to be. And so it's going to feel weird seeing him in New Orleans. He spent his whole career playing for Golden State, and obviously did not play all that much. It was like remember when Steve Kerr was like, yeah, we're going to start Looney, and Draymond Green was like, hell yeah, thank God, finally, right? Because Draymond has to, wrestle with the Bulls every night, and then it like lasted like a couple games or whatever, and then they went right back to playing small again. And it's like, all right, but I've always liked Kevon Looney, and he 2 years ago or 3 years ago, whatever it was,
the first round of the playoffs when he broke out. Yeah.
He won the game again. He destroyed the Grizzlies. He had like 18 rebounds.
Oh, was that the Grizzlies series when he had like 22 and 18 every night or whatever?
Turned into Will Chamberlain the whole series.
I remember that they started doing like mini features on Kevon Looney before the game, like 5-minute like mini documentaries about him growing up or whatever. It was just like, what is this? But since then he has not, I don't know. I've always felt that the Warriors had a problem at the center position, and this isn't helping. This isn't helping at all.
I also
don't know what their answer is now.
I don't understand the fit with the Pelicans. They're just going to be like, I don't know.
I don't know what the Pelicans are up to, but
it's Joe Dumars, bro.
Yeah. It's been a tough week for your Pelicans fan.
Just I don't know. I guess we're gonna go. I guess we're gonna go Kevon Looney alongside Zion and Derek Queen, and I don't know.
I don't know what's happening there.
Sod.
I don't know.
I guess they need a center. They need a center. I like Looney. I do. I've always liked
Warriors need a center.
Yeah. Well, not that kind, I guess. They didn't have the money. That's not a big deal. 2 years, $16 million.
Who's the tall guy from BC whose name escapes me right now? White guy shoots threes for the Warriors. 7-footer.
Oh, Quentin Perimeter.
Yeah. Are we looking for him now?
Like, is that Post? They re-signed him. Yeah.
Post Malone. Like, what are we looking for? Like, is that the answer at center now? Like, if you play Jokic, you're gonna like put Quentin Post on him?
Yes.
Ew.
That's the answer. Tyus Jones, who one of my favorite guys.
I was about to say it's a Verno guy.
I love him. I love Tyus Jones. And that thing in Phoenix went terrible. It did.
Yeah, we thought that was the answer.
Yeah, that was going to be like he's going to be there, then they're going to be good, then he can cash in because he signed a short deal with them as well. But he's back with his buddy Desmond Bane in Orlando, and in terms of just like he is such a throwback to just I could run this team. I'm not going to turn the ball over. I'm going to hit a couple floaters a game. Like I think it's going to be great for them. He is a great vet to have on your team, and is like just totally solid. And I actually think for a team that just needs guys to keep the ball moving and get them organized, I think it's going to be great for them.
It reminds me a lot in totally different players. I'm not saying it's this good, but sort of like a Van Vliet in Houston role.
Yeah.
Whereas we've got a lot of young players. We've got a lot of offensive firepower. We just need someone to sort of like run the show and dribble the ball up and get us into our stuff. And I think Tyus Jones can do that. And obviously Suggs isn't always available. So it's nice to have that. And they don't have Cole Anthony anymore. So it's just sort of like nice to have a solid point guard.
Anybody else you want to mention that's gotten signed today? Anybody you think worth mentioning?
Kevin Porter Jr. was oddly important for the Bucks.
Oh, stop. Who cares?
He was.
Come on.
When Dame went down, he was oddly important for the Bucks.
Okay. Well, now, I mean, in between him and Taurean Prince, Giannis has got to be just thrilled.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's staying for sure. And I mean, I don't know what's happening with Brooklyn. They drafted 5 guys. They traded for Michael Porter Jr.
Brought back Day'Ron Sharpe.
They got Day'Ron Sharpe back. I just don't know what's going on there. I'm just like, it's just a huge mystery on the other side of the river. I'm just like, I don't know what the plan is. Like Utah's trying to be bad, develop their young players. I don't know what the Nets are doing. I have no idea what they're up to. I have none.
Well,
what's the plan?
And we do have, I mean, look, there's still guys that are hanging out there. We still haven't gotten news on what's going on with, I think the highest ranked one was probably Miles Turner. Is that right? Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean,
Miles Turner.
It's safe to assume that he'll be back with the Pacers, but who knows?
But, I mean, like, if we're going through just, like, the top free agents, it was LeBron, Harden, Kyrie, Julius Randle, who we didn't really touch on, but did sign a deal. They're running it back in Minnesota, and we're able to sign him up to his deal. Miles Turner, Van Vliet, Naz Reid. Naz Reid got a lot of money.
Yeah. And Randall.
5 years, $125 million, if you're not going to start, is a fortune.
Good for him.
That is a fortune. I know he is a beloved player there. Then we've got Kuminga. It's kind of like the next one out there. Yep. Which I guess
he's restricted.
And so is Giddey, right? That's the two next big ones. Him and Giddey, which I think the expectation is Kuminga will be elsewhere. Giddey will return to Chicago. Between those, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who we covered, DeAndre Ayton, who we covered, Finney Smith, who we covered, Malik Beasley, who we talked about. We got Ty Jerome, Brook Lopez. Al Horford's going to end up somewhere. There you go. There's your Golden State. He'll end up there, won't he? Doesn't that sound right? That sounds
feels right. It feels right.
It feels right.
It feels
like they're win now, right? It's like, where else?
Jimmy Butler, Steph Curry, Al Horford. We're going for it. The old guys. Draymond Green. Everyone's got gray hair, receding hairlines. We're going for it.
Yeah, and it's like a couple. We got what, one or two more in us?
Yeah, it's kind of like the Clippers. It's like you got 2 more years to make this happen.
To take a chance at it. Yeah,
give it a shot.
And so. Yeah, I mean, look, there's been a lot of turnover so far. I have been kind of surprised there hadn't been as many trades. Right?
It's been
like in conjunction with free agency. There hasn't been that many trades.
No, it's been pretty calm. It's been pretty calm. But Kevin Durant got moved. Like, let's not forget that. Like Kevin Durant is now on the Rockets.
No. I mean, well, and Desmond Bane got moved as well. I mean, like those happened prior to the draft, but in terms of like free agency and people trying to figure this out, like with the sign and trades.
Sign and trades happen a lot too, yeah.
Yeah, and there hasn't been that much. And I think, these teams are all trying to figure out how to navigate in this new world. And especially when I guess there was a report today that some of the teams thought the cap was going to be going up 10% and it went up 7%. I guess the NBA announced for the next year. And so there's some more planning that goes along with that. But I think we're just going to have to get used to. That's what made the Houston thing all the more surprising. Is every NBA fan is sitting around going, "How the hell are they signing half the
yeah, exactly. It's like
all I've heard about is how
the
he
second
can't do
apron and the tax, luxury tax, and double tax. And
how come every time
brought in Kevin Durant and the biggest free agent? What?
All right, explain it to me, Nate Duncan. How every time I open my phone, these bastards have signed another player.
Yeah.
I swear.
What?
All I've been reading about is the Rockets and the Hawks for the last 3 days.
Yeah. How's this possible? God bless them, though. I think the big takeaway from today is the Rockets are a much better team than they were last year.
And
they're a viable championship contender.
And the Hawks are an Eastern contender.
I think Porzingis' effectiveness will swing that. It'll swing.
But they are a contender, dude.
But you just can't rely on that guy.
Did you see when they? I got it. It doesn't even matter. Even if he plays some, they're a contender in the East. Did you see when they put up the Celtics lineup? Atlanta's a contender, brother. You got the Knicks there.
The Knicks got Jordan Clarkson now and Don Staley.
Right. I'm saying it's open. It's open for a team, and I think that the one that really took advantage, there's two that I feel like really took advantage of it in the East that can be significantly better than they were a year ago, and that is Orlando, and that is Atlanta. That's what I'd say.
It seems like they're trying, but I would love for the Hornets to be a good basketball team.
Oh, I would too.
I would love for that to happen. I don't think this roster is going to compete or whatever. They're not going to they're going to play maybe a play-in team or something, but I just love for them to be competitive and healthy. Yes. Because I just want to see them healthy and competitive.
And hopefully and you know what? I don't want to throw away the Pistons. I liked it. And you're going to look, we always keep forgetting the guy that I had as my breakout player in the NBA last year didn't play in Jaden Ivey.
Yeah, that's the thing that people always forget. It's like they're
going to take a step up.
in Jaden Ivey.
And they added Karis LeVert. And
they re-signed. They extended Beef Stew.
Yep.
They got Karis LeVert.
I like them too.
And I'm curious what happens with this Beasley thing because
I know.
Rozier, he was cleared today. So if you're the Pistons, and he can play while he's being investigated, and he's not been charged with anything. So, I don't know.
Bro, he played with an ankle monitor. He did.
I know.
So he's used to it anyway.
I mean, he hasn't been charged with anything. So, I don't know. They should sign him and save some money. It could break the Pistons' way, to be honest with you.
True story. He had one of the most prolific three-point shooting seasons in NBA history.
Yeah.
That's true.
And he was set to get paid. The timing is so crazy that they announced this on the day he's about to ink a new deal.
Yeah.
It's just weird. The timing of it all is very strange. I don't think that's a coincidence. I don't know who benefits. I don't know how the information gets relayed. I know there's they outsource the sort of oversight of the gambling stuff. It just seems very odd that he's about to sign a deal. The terms have been negotiated, and then the press release comes out.
You feel like there's a real possibility that they were saving the Pistons.
I'm not even getting into potential motivations, but it's just
say, hey, don't do this. Don't do this because this is going on.
It does feel like this is pure speculation. That they know there's going to be a press release that he signs a 3-year, $51 million deal? Let me just look at it real quick. Yeah, 3-year, $42 million deal. They're like, we don't want to have the press release on Monday say 3-year, $42 million deal, and then the press release on Tuesday say under investigation. I don't know. It's just the timing seems very, very fishy.
Let's hope he wasn't involved because that's terrible for all of us. All of us.
Yeah, it's just awful.
As basketball fans.
And who's betting on Malik Beasley rebounds?
Psychos.
I don't go that deep into the props. I do the star player plus 30 points and over or whatever. I don't have a really good strategy. I'm not a great gambler, but I love FanDuel. I just also want to say this before we go.
Please.
If you're eating dinner next to LeBron James and you're recording him and putting it on the internet, you're a scumbag. You're an absolute scumbag.
I think
you're a scumbag.
Hold on now. What if, and you've done this because I saw it 3 weeks ago at Benihana. You record at Benihana too.
Hell yeah, that's the whole point of going to Benihana.
They were at one of those kind of restaurants.
I think of sushi, not hibachi. Very different.
But they were making it in front of them. They were making the food in front of them. And what if in your video that you would have taken of your kids at Benihana, LeBron James could be heard going, "Hey, I might retire.
I might take a look at New York."
You're for sure posting that. Shut
no
up.
Chance. No chance.
Yes, you would.
No way. I think you're a scumbag if you're secretly recording somebody at dinner that's super famous and then putting it on the internet and getting followers, clout. What do you get?
Say it to Kevin Love's face if that's how you feel.
I don't think it was Kevin Love.
Oh, it wasn't?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, well, say it. What? Hey. All right, here comes the tinfoil again.
Oh God.
What if it was Rich Paul?
Well, he was in New York saying that he would take a look at New York.
What if it was Rich Paul and he put that out on purpose?
The camera angle was too high for Rich Paul, unless he was holding the phone over his head like he was raising his hand in class. I'm sorry, Rich.
He doesn't care about you. He's busy doing the jerk off motion to Jake LaRavia being signed.
We have to give. Where's the statement? So Sunday, LeBron wants to compete for a championship. Monday, Lakers sign Jake LaRavia. They're not building for the future with Jake LaRavia? Please. Oh God.
Free agency is underway.
Let me do one more check. Let me do one more refresh to see if anything happened. What do we got?
Nothing.
Taurean Prince is the latest. Good.
We covered that. All right. Thank you to our executive producer, Jesse Lopez, as always. Thank you to Tucker on video and Jacoby. I'll talk to you later this week.
Must be 21 and over and present in select states for Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 and over and present in D.C. Got a gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.